Welcome back to the Pint-Sized Biker. They say never meet your idols. Norton Commando is an idol of mine. Well, I met the idol. I had a 1974 one for 5 years. Different story. I loved it, but I didn't have the time to keep on top of the maintenance. So, do you meet your idol's children? That would be this, the 961 Commando. Just borrowed this from the Petersfield Norton dealership, which is just up the road. I've ridden about 10 miles. Thought I'd pull over, give you my first thoughts. First of all, stunning looking machine. Absolutely beautiful. The engine casings, these downpipes you can see have golded up nicely already. The bluing really complements the bike. It doesn't look like it's burnt out or anything like that so far. Gorgeous Norton tank with that Manx Norton style silver with the black and red coaching. It's just iconic, absolutely iconic, and they've got that right. You've got Olian suspension, Brembo discs and calipers, no expense spared there. At 77 brake horsepower, so it's not the most powerful bike on the road, but for real world use, it feels lovely. The torque, it could pull a caravan, as could the original. And it is addictive to ride. It's so engaging. There's not particularly high handlebars, say compared to what's on my T100. But you instantly kind of tuck in quite nicely and you get into the groove really quickly. The tyres look like they're fantastic quality and feel fantastic on the road. Brakes are great. Brakes have got a really nice feel, as you probably expect with Brembo. They've told me that this is £14,975. The RIP is a bit more than that, but that's what they're offering these at the second, which I think for a bike made in Britain, that's good value for money. In terms of reliability so far, ever since they've come back in the last year or so, obviously it's too early to say, but it feels well built, it feels good quality. In terms of long-term maintenance, I would suggest going on the Access Norton forum. I use that with my Commando, and there's a great page there for the new 961s and the ones before this under the Stuart Garner concern. There's a real good backup support there, so I would feel confident enough that even if you did have issues, I mean, so far this would obviously be in warranty, so they'll all be well covered, but long term, I think you'd be okay. Should we get on it? (810mm) seat height, so it's a bit tall, but it does narrow at the tank where your knees tuck in really nicely. You really find yourself kind of pushing on, tucking in, getting into quite a nice sporty position. It would be lovely if the seat was a little bit lower, especially as you can see here. I don't know if there's an airbox under there or not, probably, feeling where that goes there from the engine. Clocks in the centre, nothing complicated, no modes, no rain modes or anything like that. You've got your rev counter, or go the wrong way around, you've got your speedo and your rev counter there. What more do you want? Nice comfortable handlebars, and as I said before, the clutch and the brake actually feel really nice. Retro style mirrors, feels really good. How does it sound? Sounds good. I'll just give that away. Oh. Yeah, little throttle. Hopefully you can pick up that thumping twin sound really nice. It feels good on the road, I won't lie. It goes really nice. that cover there was for a pillion seat. You can get a little extra to go on top. I think you have to pay extra for that. I would pay extra for that. I don't know how good the comfort would be because I can't try it without the cover on. But they are quite short foot pegs there. In that short distance so far, it does. I've read online that some people have complained a little bit about the vibrations. Now this is a sensitive subject, pardon the pun. If you compared it to say like the 850 originally, and perhaps it's unfair to do so, it is a different bike. It does actually vibrate quite a bit on your foot pegs and your handlebars. The handlebars not too much. It kind of goes away as you power through the revs. The old ones vibrated at standstill. I mean, people go, oh, it vibrates less. Well, actually, this doesn't vibrate less than the original because that had the isolastic set up. On my one, I had the Mark III isoelastics put onto the front, and then at the back of the swing arm and the head steady. And you'd get it above, I can't remember the exact revs, but for argument's sake, 2,500 revs, and it would smooth it out really nicely. That was the whole idea. It was the whole idea of that system, because the bikes before that revved, vibrated really high, and it would chuck out engine bolts or other bits would fall off, or generally just kind of tiring to ride long distance or high speed. I haven't jumped on the motorway yet. I'm not sure I'll have the time because I only got it for an hour. But you can feel the vibration for your foot pegs. That said, it's not off-putting. It's just different. It feels raw, and I think that's where this is going with how it's marketed, of how it's going. It is a pure engine. There's no silly modes or electronics to take over anything. It just is a stunning 961cc motor in a clearly great frame, nice old style petrol tank, handlebars, decent suspension, and that's it. You want to jump out and go and have fun. So though yes, it does vibrate, I would urge you to ride it first to see if that bothers you. If you're comparing it to the original, it vibrates more, but it's a different bike. And I suspect, I mean, I'm not an engineer, but I reckon if you put some thicker rubber foot pegs on that, which I'm sure engineered could be done, a lot of that vibration would go away. And I think that would solve a lot of the problems. I suspect probably the same in the handlebars, so I wouldn't lose sleep over that. One thing to be aware is that the turning circle is quite short. So I just had to move a second ago. I rode up here, I took the wrong turn in, and I had to jump off to turn around rather than be able to just pedal myself back. Because of my short legs being only 5'3", and because of the fact that the turning circle wasn't great. And you also then had to put your hand back on here because you wasn't confident at this stage of grabbing onto anything, whereas I'm used to a rack on my Triumph. I mean, they're the negatives, but they are quite minor, really. Oh, and the other thing, be careful with the side stand. It's easier to reach than the original Commando, which I couldn't reach, I have to be honest. But it is still in a slightly awkward place, but I'm sure you would get used to that in time. Right, I better jump back on it. Just got back to the Petersfield Norton dealership. Shout out to Andrew and Tony and the guys, really helpful. Let me take the bike out for an hour to give it a blast, to see what I think of it in that time. Get yourself down here, because the showroom that they've got here don't just have the SP and the CR, the one with the clip-ons. They also have in there some old bikes that Norton have let them have in the showroom. Look at this, 1963 Atlas Scrambler from the Norton factory that they've let this dealership have for a few months. You can see the 750 engine in there with the twin enamel calves. That airbox looks very different to what my Commando had from a few years after that. Looks like it's been modified a bit, though not an expert on the Atlas. To put those foot pegs on a normal one, and then that, I reckon that would solve the vibrations. And those twin clocks, best view of motorcycling, as my dad used to say. What else we got in here? It's the standard Commando with a what looks like a carbon little nose fairing. And the normal Norton 961 SP. And over in the corner, another classic 1938 International. This looks like it's just finished a TT run. Can you imagine lying on that tank, blasting down the hill at the Isle of Man? And a 500 over here, 1950 500, single cylinder again. It's this that looks like a record cover from the 50s, 60s and 70s, and inside it you've got a whole host of information about the Norton brand, the history of the bike, of this Commando, all different details, stuff about the actual bike in terms of like the engine management lights or little bits and bobs like you get in a manual. But what a quality piece you got with the bike compared to say what you'd get in a normal manual. And then it looks like the outside is all about Norton's past. I'm guessing that's Jeff Duke, or does it say? There we go. Duke smashed the course record. That's Mike Howard. So the other model that I didn't test today is the CR. Yeah, CR 961 with the clip-ons, which gives you that real old school kind of cafe racer vibe. You'll have more stress on your wrist and your back, especially if you're quite short like me. I wouldn't go for this. I might have about 10 years ago. Now I'd go with the one with a wider handlebar, especially as I take a Pillion in a lot. That extra leverage would make the world of difference, but I would like to try it. And those mirrors look pretty cool, to be fair. Normally you'd go for like the bar ends, but actually I think they're pretty neat. Yeah, I can see why you'd want to put a little screen on that. And again, in that gorgeous scheme that goes straight back to the Manx Nortons, and the final generation of the Commandos had this on the Mark III. But getting back to the new one, I mentioned about the vibrations in the first part of the video. As I was riding back, and that was nice. As is often the way, you find yourself learning about the bike, getting more into it, and you found yourself riding just in a way that those vibrations didn't come in quite as much, and you learn to ride to them. I briefly took it out onto the motorway, well, it's more of like a dual carriageway on the A3. And again, it handles it easily, no problems whatsoever, absolutely no problems. What else to say about it? Oh, the suspension, actually. This is good. I've been looking to change the suspension on my T100 for a little while, and this is going to push me in the direction to do that, because you can feel the quality when you're dropping it into the bends. You could feel how much better the suspension was, mixed with the fact it's got decent tyres on it. It was dipping in nicely. As always the way, total sod's law. I got myself stuck behind things and in a position where you can't safely overtake, and I'm not going to take any risks to do so. Such a short time with a bike, but you could feel it could handle brilliantly. Mirrors were quite good, no vibration problems with them. One slight annoyance, again, you'd adapt to it, I suppose. Well, you would if you wanted to bike. With my short little thumbs, the indicator switch seemed a stretch when you're going to switch it off. Not switching it on, just switching it off. But these are small details that you soon you just adapt and learn. Gear lever was nice. Rear brake was quite strong. Yeah, fantastically well built motorcycle. And we were just looking at, Andrew was just showing me, you can get some luggage racks for the back, or people have taken like a Rentec rack or a different brand rack, and they've put it on a bit, which then will go under where the pillion seat is. So you could take luggage, and on the, probably can't quite see it here if I just slightly move the camera, where the top piece is on the O-lins, which then joins to the foot peg. Well, just there, you can get like a little C-loop, which you could then put some saddlebags on there. So you could easily tour on it, no problems whatsoever, in my opinion. I just wish I had a bit more time with it. Now, Norton, if you're watching, if you want to lend me a press bike for a couple of weeks, and I'll really stick some miles on it, and from a Norton die-hard lover's perspective, really give a good opinion of what that bike can do, because that bike can do plenty. Hope that's been useful to you. Give the channel a like and subscribe. It really helps me drive the channel forward. I've got a buy me a coffee on there. If you feel kind enough to do that, that'd be really appreciated, and all that goes towards camera pieces or anything that's needed to be able to get me to try more bikes. If there's anything else you want to see, if you want a review of any jackets or gloves, for instance, I get quite a lot of people asking about my brown gloves that show up in the point of view videos. These are Goldtop calf racer gloves. I've had these now for just over a year or 18 months. Brilliant. This is a Goldtop jacket. Any of that, if you want a review, just give me a shout and I'll get a video done, and I'll get it up on the channel. Ride safe. See you next time. Have fun.